Live, local, now. This is the news at daybreak.
Well, breaking overnight, a possible shooting leads to a high-speed chase in Savannah. One person is now in custody. We'll have a live report from our Jarvis Robertson.
The burden of danger is off, and that is the greatest relief we have.
Plus, the search for two escaped Georgia inmates comes to an end in Tennessee. We're going to tell you how they were captured and if anyone will be getting the big reward that was being offered for their arrests.
Right now, let's take a live look outside from our WTOC Southside Savannah Skycam. And let's head over to Dave Turley to see how the weather will be for this Father's Day.
And the weekend starts out great here for our Friday morning.
Well, breaking overnight, one person is in custody following a high-speed chase. That chase started on East 32nd and Waters Avenue, ending on Durin with the suspect crashing his car.
And that's where we find our Jarvis Robertson this morning, who joins us live from the scene. And Jarvis, this all started as a possible shooting.
Well, Russ, officers were responding to East 32nd and Waters due to a shot spotter call that came in around 12:50 this morning. This incident does remain under investigation. Once police release more information to WTOC, we will pass it along to you all on air and online. Reporting live in Savannah this morning, I'm Jarvis Robertson, WTOC News.
Two Georgia inmates who were on the run are now back in police custody. Donnie Rowe and Ricky Dubose were captured in Rutherford County, Tennessee last night. They were spotted after they broke into an elderly couple's home and stole their car. They led police on a car chase before crashing and running into the woods. The suspects made their way into another home, but police say the homeowner held them at gunpoint. They surrendered a short time later to police. Now, deputies say they killed those two prison guards while escaping from a prison van in Putnam County, Georgia. The sheriff did not hide his emotions when he found out about their capture.
Well, I know I don't look good, but trust me, I feel good. And I'm happy, I'm elated. I'm still tremendously sad about these officers.
A $130,000 reward was being offered for their arrest. The sheriff says that money won't be given to anyone because law enforcement spotted the fugitives after they committed a crime.
Well, this morning, Governor Nathan Deal is praising all agencies who helped in the search. It reads in part, "My sincere thanks to our local, state, and federal law enforcement officers who assisted in the manhunt. Because of their tireless efforts, the public is safe. The pain endured by the families and loved ones of Sergeant Christopher Monica and Sergeant Curtis Ballou endures." He goes on to say that the public will not forget the officers' sacrifice and service.
Well, funeral services for those officers who were killed will begin this weekend. Sergeant Curtis Ballou will be laid to rest in McIntyre, Georgia, and services for Sergeant Christopher Monica will take place Tuesday in Milledgeville, Georgia. An off-duty deputy in Richmond County, Georgia, in Augusta is shot and killed following a domestic dispute involving multiple people. When deputies arrived on scene, they found Deputy Gregory Cook suffering from a gunshot wound. He was taken to the hospital where he later died. 4 suspects have been arrested. Investigators aren't releasing any more details at this time, but the chief deputy for Richmond County says this was not a random attack.
We don't know the relationship. They were related to the other 2 adult members involved in the domestic dispute. Appears that one of them was one of their children.
And they were all in the same house?
Yeah, it involved a house there at the 2400 block of Lenox Road.
It's not known what charges the suspects will be facing at this point.
Well, the FBI is investigating threatening letters sent to Republican congressional candidate Karen Handel. Well, she is running against Democrat Jon Ossoff this Tuesday in a special election for Georgia's 6th congressional seat. Well, suspicious white powder was sent to her home. Some of her neighbors received it as well. The FBI is now conducting tests on the powder. 2 local news stations in Atlanta also received similar letters. The contents of one of those letters turned out to be mostly baking soda.
Well, the U.S. Coast Guard says the man wanted for a false dirty bomb threat at the Port of Charleston is in police custody in Ohio. He was arrested on an unrelated charge and is being questioned by the FBI. That threat prompted investigators to perform nuclear searches and x-rays at Wando Terminal. They concluded there was no credible threat. The captain says the community should be proud of their response.
even though this definitely elevated our heart rate, we responded in a cool, calm, collected fashion, and we ensured the fort was safe.
At this time, no charges have been filed related to this incident. The FBI continues to investigate.
Well, 2 correction officers are recovering after inmates attacked them during a prison riot Wednesday night in Edgefield, South Carolina. The Department of Corrections director says it started when prison staff tried to take a cell phone from an inmate. He says there are many staffing vacancies at the prison, which can jeopardize the safety of correction officers there. One retired Department of Corrections psychologist believes the openings are thanks to low pay.
These officers are being exposed to some of the most difficult and dangerous and manipulative people in South Carolina. We have employees who do critical things for South Carolina. They need to be honored and respected with proper pay.
Well, the director says it's too soon to tell if the riot was worsened by light staffing, but he does reiterate their drive to keep contraband out of prisoners' hands.
The number of violent incidents in South Carolina prisons is going up. That's according to the Department of Corrections. In 2014 and 2015, the inmate assault rate was 3.1%. 2016, that number jumped to 4.2%. Last year, of the 867 recorded assaults, just over 60% involved inmates attacking guards.
Investigators from the Effingham County Sheriff's Office and Metro Police spent nearly 10 hours Thursday searching an area after human remains were found. Well, they'll continue to search the area for the next several days. Officers received a tip that a body was being concealed on a property off Lanier White Circle. After getting a search warrant, the investigation began. Well, police are not able to give any details about the remains, but they did remove a pickup truck from the scene.
Savannah city leaders and Chatham County commissioners are not on the same page when it comes to funding public safety. This was discussed during the county's second budget hearing yesterday. A Berkshire police study says the county needs to spend more money for police protection, but county leaders say that report is flawed. A lot of that funding will come from the 2018 budget, which has to be finished by July 1st. An agreement between the city and county doesn't seem likely anytime soon.
Our board said we've got a lot of questions, so now's the time to begin negotiation and to look at a contract. Now, it's not going to happen before July 1st. There's no way.
Well, the cost for policing will likely lead to a property tax increase.
Well, this just in, fire damages a family's home on Green Oak Court in Savannah. Well, we have pictures from the scene at the Regency Mobile Home Park around 4 o'clock this morning. Firefighters say the fire started in the kitchen. 3 adults inside the home made it out safely, and they were able to put the fire out before crews arrived. The home suffered smoke damage, and Southside firefighters are investigating.
Tracking the tropics this morning in the First Alert Tropical Update, there are 2 separate areas to watch. First and foremost, the south.
Well, a rare display of bipartisanship in Washington, D.C. as both Democrats and Republicans continue a baseball tradition. This as both parties pull for the recovery of Congressman Steve Scalise.
Well, breaking this morning, the Russian military claims it has killed the leader of ISIS in an airstrike. The country's defense ministry says the strike was carried out in late May, and it killed Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi. It said 30 militant leaders and about 300 fighters were killed. The strike happened on the southern outskirts of Raqqa, Syria. A U.S.-led anti-ISIS group says it cannot confirm that the ISIS leader has been killed. We have some breaking news out of London this morning where police are responding to an incident outside of Parliament. London police say a man with a knife has been arrested near that area. They add they believe the incident is not thought to be terror-related.